Stay with your chest.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
This ain't no regular thing. Came for the ring, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean. This is my city, yeah, this is my team. If you talking, it's hard to be nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights. Better keep right, I'm champion. The game is in trouble, I've been in my depth for the piece of the puzzle, I got it for real. Still keep me going, I wake up and hustle, you won't see me buckle, I've been in the field. Man of the town, you been in your fields, I'm adjusting this crown. Call me your majesty, either that or your tragedy. We shutting everything down. I'm being hot like somebody put a candle on. I'm off top, I don't really stand opponents. This mine, the moment is run out and start a bunch of pandemonium. More game, I got some, the skill is bar one, y'all done, the game in the coffin. Referee screen.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining One Ass Cheek and Three Toes. I am your host, Brian Beastrilla, and I got the Mad YINZER there, Nate the Great on the bottom there, and Chris the baseball specialist right there in the corner there. How you guys doing today?
Good, man.
Doing great.
All right, we're going to get into some baseball today, and before we do that, I'm going to do some updates, so bear with me just a moment. It should be a quick 5-minute update here.
I love your intro, man. I love your intro.
Well, thank you. Thank you, sir. So just to get you some up-to-date stuff here, the Red Wings lost to the Capitals 4-1 last night. Gave up 3 goals in the third. That defense, boy, it's terrible. Larkin scored the Wings' only goal. Ovechkin had no goals and still stands at 8 to overtake Gretzky. So we're up to date on the NHL.
Boom.
And then let's see, on the NFL news, the Vikings not pursuing Rodgers, will stick with JJ.
Boom.
A wide receiver, Nicole Hardman, is joining the Packers on a 1-year deal. Center Bradbury signed a 2-year deal with New England. Titans re-signed running back Julius Chestnut to a 1-year deal. And Jaguars signed offensive tackle Fred Johnson to a 1-year deal. UNC is to meet Ole Miss after beating San Diego State 95-68 in tourney game. So they will be playing Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is 1, right? If I'm thinking, right? Okay.
You're talking about basketball?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Alabama State gets by St. Francis 70-68 to face number 1 seed Auburn, which is probably just going to be an exhibition game for Auburn. So,
hey, you never know March Madness, man. Never know.
Yeah,
I have one update for you, Bestrilla. I have one update for football.
What's that?
So Kirk Cousins still on the roster, the Atlanta Falcons. So he's now guaranteed $100 million.
Just stealing money.
Yeah, for the 10 million. Yeah, because 110 really, because they gave him $10 million to stay, dumbass. Yep. But that's okay.
I think they're keeping him on the roster just in case Penix just kind of like implodes, like maybe Bryce Young did, and he's over his head, and they just have Cousins there. It's not a bad move. I mean, he's still an able quarterback that can still play. It's not the greatest.
Oh, that's cool. Brent DeWitt. Yeah. Huh. I wonder if he's related to a Mike DeWitt that I used to know back in the day.
hey, you see how bad the quarterback market is? Nobody even wants Aaron Rodgers right now. So you hold on to the quarterback you got.
He's always
don't say that name, Aaron Rodgers.
That's a source.
So we did have some Major League Baseball season opener between the Los Angeles Dodgers, your World Series champions last year, versus the Chicago Cubs. And they're from the South Side, right? No, that's the Whites. Well, I don't care. Anyway.
Who cares?
Yeah. Yoshinobu. I know I'm going to butcher some of these names, so forgive me if I do. Yamamoto had 5 innings of strong pitching and Shohei Ohtani had 2 hits as the reigning world champs beat the Chicago Cubs 4-1 on opening day in Japan's Tokyo Dome. It was the first time in an opening day major league game that 2 Japanese starting pitchers matched up. Shota, Amanaga.
Stop.
I'm
You can't even
butchering
say
it.
Otani's name right.
Look, man, just call one Moto and the
Ohtani.
other Yodo. Okay, move on.
The Cubs starting pitcher, I'll get it right, believe me, threw 4 scoreless innings, allowing no hits, but walked 4. And the Dodgers jumped on the Cubs reliever Ben Brown in the 5th. Ohtani got the rally started with a hard single to the right side. He was 2 for 5 in that game. The Cubs' Miguel Amaya drove in their only run in the 2nd. And Yamamoto, Anthony Banda, Ben Kasparis, and Blake Trinan combined to retire 16 batters in a row from the 3rd to the 8th. So
getting enough entertainment out of you
Dodgers in the
Japanese.
first game. In the second game, look, I'm not Japanese, I'm English. So don't make it different. I'm American.
Somebody messaged in the chat how to pronounce
It's like trying to pronounce hockey names.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll do better pronouncing hockey names than I do Japanese names. But anyway, Dodgers completed a sweep of the Cubs today. As a matter of fact, they finished and won 6-3. What is it? Oh, so say his name. Is it Ohtani? What's his name?
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, Ohtani.
Ohtani. Okay, so I got that right. Hits his first home run of the season in the Dodger pitcher.
Right. He's the best player in the MLB, period.
His first home run of the season in a Dodger pitcher, Roki Sasaki debut.
Yeah.
So it was his first rookie debut. Kiki Hernandez, or Kike Hernandez. Is it Kike or Kiki?
Kiki Hernandez.
Kiki Hernandez hit a 2-run home. I just don't want to sound, make his name sound female. Anyway, a 2-run home run, and Tommy Edman and Ohtani both hit solo home runs. Ohtani's barely cleared the right field for it. In fact, if you saw the video in the beginning of the show, it kind of bounced off the wall, but they called it a home run anyway. I think that they were just giving
it. If it hit the tip of the wall, if it hit the top of the wall, sometimes there's a runner, and that can be considered a home run.
Because
where
a hit wasn't really top.
It's just the way that the stadiums are built.
It was kind of weird, but they caught a home run, so it doesn't make a difference. Sasaki gave up 1 run, 1 hit while striking out 3. He walked 5, including a pass ball that forced in a run. Cubs pitcher Justin Steele gave up 5 runs over 4 innings. First pitches of Sasaki's career registered over 99.4 miles per hour, 1 topping 100.5 miles per hour. So
those Japanese pitchers can throw. Those Japanese pitchers can play, man.
Yeah, they can.
Big name.
So, and yesterday the Tigers beat the Twins 6-5. Matt Manning started for the Tigers, gave up 5 runs in 3 1/3 inning. Troy Watson got the win, and Dylan Smith got the save after Twins pitcher gave up 3 runs and a lead after 1/3 inning of play. At the top of the ninth, to start the rally, Johan Duran gave up a walk to David Hensley. Andrew Navagato singled. These guys must be backup players. Theron Lizarato.
Yeah, a lot of spring is to play the young guys that nobody probably won't be playing in this.
Yeah, Navagato might actually he's still up, so he's really good.
It's like preseason football.
Yeah,
they play the backup
relief
guys.
pitcher came in to relieve Duran Bazavolkovic, whatever the hell his name is, and promptly walked Ben Maligari to score. David Hensley, Bradley Allen reached on an error. Lorenzano and Navagato scored fielding errors by Jefferson Morales in the outfield there. Dylan Smith replaced Watson in about a ninth and allowed 1 hit single to 1 single to 4 of the batters that he faced.
Need a breather?
Yeah, I need a breather.
That's a mouthful, man.
I don't know.
I don't know. ESPN does it, man.
I don't know how they do it. Now, so you know what? When you sit there, you actually have to sit there, and that's how you do homework. It ain't about It ain't about knowing the plays when you're on ESPN. It's about knowing the names. If you can get through the names,
I've talked with people that have actually worked for ESPN just for a short terms and stuff, and they have said that like if you want to be like these sportscasters and stuff like that, you are living, breathing 24/7 your job. Like what you just did, you did that all off the cuff. These people sit here like hours before the show, literally faking that they're on and briefing this over and over and over again, so that when they get on there and they still make mistakes. So I mean, you did a great job. Like, other than trying to pronounce names, which, to be honest, most of us wouldn't get right either.
Yeah, konnichiwa.
Okay.
Konnichiwa.
So moving on.
Hey, I can say no in Japanese.
Chris over here on my right of me. He is the Tigers baseball guy. He is a baseball guy in general. And he can probably teach most of us on this panel some things about baseball. Well, not about baseball, but the players of the baseball league today, and figure out where the hell our teams are at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so take it away, Chris. If anybody wants to ask a question, of course, let Chris know.
Now, obviously, you guys are going to know more about your individual teams than I will. But I mean, so here's a question to you guys out the gate. Okay, first it's going to be Tigers based. Okay, so what do you think the over/under win total for the Tigers will be this year? And so Vegas has on the place 3.5, 84.5. Where do you guys think the Tigers are going to go? Now, granted, I know you guys follow the Tigers. What's your opinions on these?
How many? What's the win total?
So depending on the Vegas place, it's 83.5 or 84.5 over under. So right around there.
I think that's about right.
Okay.
With a young team, schoolboy pitching, they got some depth, but you know, I still worry about their bats. So I say 83 is about right.
Okay. If you don't, do you have anything, Bistrella, or you just? It doesn't matter.
I would give them, you know what? I'm going to actually be brazen and give them a couple more wins. I'll give them at 86.
Walking the wild side, B.
There you go.
And the man, we're going to call you
the Tigers had 86 last year.
I'm really going out on a limb.
Hey, I'm going to call you the madman right now, pirate guy.
How many wins did they have last year?
The madman.
How many wins?
Yeah, what was our record last year, Chris?
Yins were 86 and 76.
Correct. I thought it was 86. Yeah, it was 86 wins.
Oh, okay. So they think they're gonna do a little bit.
I said 86.
Okay. Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah.
You know, Tigers like improved every year. I think the year before last year they had 85. Now they had 86 this year.
I wonder why they think they're gonna win less games. Like even though it's only 3 less, I wonder why it's less.
So that's what I'm going to get into. I'm going to get into that. So I don't believe they're going to hit 83 games. In fact, mine is about 77, 78 games. I think they're going to take it back. Really. And here's the reason, and I'm going to get into the reason why. Okay. So we didn't sign, other than Gleyber Torres, we didn't sign any significant player or right-handed bat because we don't have a lot of right-handed bats. We didn't sign anybody because Chris Ilitch's idea is we're gonna do it through the draft. Well, you can do that in NFL, not as easy in baseball because you draft a player. It's believe it or not, baseball is closer to hockey when it comes to draft and development because they get 99% of your draft picks in baseball and in hockey are sent to the minors.
Right.
Most hockey players. They have their own 3 to 5 years. Same with baseball, 3 to 5 years. They'll sit there depending on because not every player tops out in the pros. They top out at AAA, you know. And in some cases, some people were calling like Torkelson last year. He was a 444 player because he couldn't quite get it to the majors, but he was great in the minors. So he was a 444 player or 884, you know. But so the problem is we didn't. all the people that we signed were pitchers, and they were AARP members. Like we're talking 36, 37-year-old pitchers. That's
Xavier
great for
Torres
the
can
board.
hit, man. He's not a stout. I mean, he's not a scrub. I mean, he's not all world either. I mean, that's the reason why the Yankees moved off from him. But I think for a team like the Tigers, I mean, he could be a lively bat for y'all.
But that's the thing. We signed one. That's it. That's and so a lot of us were really complaining. We wanted like Willie Adames. We wanted like Alex Bregman, Salden I think his name's, it looks like Salamander, but I can't pronounce his last name.
Yeah, I'm going to jump out.
Yeah, those are the three guys that we wanted. And so two of them were on the Tigers hit list. Adames was not. He was signed kind of early in free agency. I wanted him, but a lot of people were like, Chris Ilitch was like, well, we don't want to block any young guys from coming up. Well, you can.
It's not like he's playing Moneyball.
Correct. And so the thing is that you're like going, well, it's great, but you can sign veteran players. Doesn't mean you're going to block those guys. They're still going to play because you have the DH swap out. You can put them at DH and then put a player in the field, a veteran in the field. Like you could swap guys out. You have to earn your spot. It's always been that way.
And what about Torkelson? Torkelson can hit for power, can he?
Who?
He was pretty good last year.
Torkelson.
No, not last year. The year before he hit 30 home runs. So he's like the problem with them. So Tigers fans, I've seen them talk a lot. They're like, well, I don't believe this whole thing. Like you should be able to bring players up early. Well, I hate to tell you, but if you look at the history of the Tigers, they have burned players by bringing them up too early. They want to hurry him up and get him in so like they can fill the seats and like the guy's going to be a star and then he fades into nothing because the pressure of the jump from AAA to the pros is the biggest jump in any level of sports.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the minors, you got a pitcher throwing one, maybe two good pitches. You go to the majors, you got 3, 4, 5 top end pitchers that have pitches that are like high end. So you can't match it. The speed's different. So when you bring them, go ahead.
But if you need bats, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know the farm system of. I know they got some pitchers in the farm, like Job and all that, but like you need bats. Like, aren't there some good bats in the AAA that the Tigers could bring up to help with the offense? I mean, if you're not going to get it through free agency, they've got to. Okay, so two things. One, we do have bats down there. They haven't had enough time down there though. We have players. It's not like you need hitting, man. You gotta just take.
Yeah, but if you bring them up and they end up being like Torque, where they brought him up super early, I wanted them to wait till one more season to bring him up. They didn't. They brought him up the year that I didn't want him to bring him up, and the dude had to be sent back down before the end of the season because he was batting 100. Like he was terrible. And so it stunted his growth. He lost confidence, and then he was in his own head the rest of the way. He had a great second year, but that's because nobody knew what he was, the pitching for him, they didn't know very much. And so he was just slugging them. He was doing good. He had a good on-base percentage. He had an average to above average, OPS. And then the following season, you're like, okay, he's going to take the next step. He got so much into his brain, and he didn't do the critiques and stuff. He wasn't taught to like change his batting stance, change his approach to the ball. You got to do that every single game, every single season. You got to constantly change.
But also too, some of that scouting too, right? Like, when you have tape on a player that's young, and he has a great year, it's like, okay, well, let's see what you do the next year after you get a really good season,
Correct. And the problem is a lot of times guys are like, oh, they're set in their ways. So if they start the season really well, then they're not moving off of anything. If they start off bad, if you're a good player and you're kind of intelligent, that shoot, now what I got to do to get out. Some people try to hit their way out of a slump. Sometimes it does not work.
Well, and also too, and this is my philosophy in baseball. You can knock it, or all y'all can knock it. It doesn't matter to me. This is my philosophy. it doesn't matter how good of a hitting team you are. It's their pitching. If your pitching is lights out and you have a hell of a bullpen, you're gonna win a lot of games and you're gonna be in the big games, because if that offense that you're playing against can't touch your pitchers, it's lights out. And you
Well,
can get timely hitting or play like I forgot what they call it, short ball, baseball.
small ball.
There you go. Yeah. You can win like that, but you got to have hell of a pitching.
So that's the thing. So here's a perfect example of why sometimes, like a lot of times, it won't work. Reese Olson, one of our best pitchers last year, dude had an ERA like in the mid to low twos. Dude couldn't catch a win for the life of him because he got no run support.
Yeah.
He should have won, like, he should have been double digits in wins easily last year. We could have won the division the problem is that just certain pitchers guys are not hitting for, and that is an issue. You can pick, but eventually you're going to get to long relievers, you're going to get to bullpen, and they're not going to match up. And then that's when the hitting takes over. And if you don't have hitters, it won't matter.
But also too, I think it's the aggressiveness of running the bases too. If you need to manufacture runs, if you're not hitting the ball, then the next step is to manufacture runs in the sense of like stealing bases, trying to at least get some walks, and all that, so you can at least have opportunities to bring scores in. Because,
correct.
Yeah, you're not gonna hit for distance. They're not the Yankees, they're not the Dodgers.
In our little run last year, the little run that we had towards the end to make the playoffs, that's what we were doing. We were trying to run more. We were trying to steal bases more. We were the amount of times that me and my buddies were getting mad because our third base coach kept waving the guys home. And on occasion, they'd be called out at the plate. We'd get frustrated. But over time, we realized that sending the guys home, given they made it home on average more than they were called out. So go ahead, send them home. Like, they were taking chances to get those runs in to keep that streak alive. So it's worth it. It is worth it. But here's the thing is, like, without veteran guys, you can't go on runs in the playoffs. You can have young guys throughout the whole season. You can play Moneyball throughout the whole season. Once you get to the playoffs, you got to have those veteran players that don't get freaking rattled at the plate. They'll get you the hit that you need.
But they did have those hitters in the playoffs. That one guy, I don't know his name, but he's the one that hit that big old play against the Astros.
But that's one. We only had one or two guys. And
with the young team, man. I mean, they're obviously going the more youth route.
And that's so. There's the downside when our roster towards the end of the season consists, and this is no joke, we were starting up to 9 players that were either rookies or second-year players. Like, that's how young we were. And so when going into the offseason, you have to think to yourself, okay, we got like that many guys that are young or rookies. We have to get some veterans because damn well that next year they're going to have a sophomore slump. They're not all going to make it. You can't expect those young players to be able to bat like close to 280, OPS around 810, 820.
There's on them, the scouting and all that is available.
You can't expect that. So you need the veterans to be there to help them along and to soften that blow. But now, I mean, we don't have it. Gleyber Torres and freaking a bunch of like aging pitchers that we picked up. That tells me that they're not serious about trying to take the next step, because we all know in every fan base, unless you're like a New York, I'll even say Boston, but New York, Boston, you big winning towns.
Yeah.
When you're thriving, when you're a fan base that's starving for playoffs, whatever you did the year before, you got to top it. Even though a lot of us real fans know that that's not the case, but in order for the fans to go to the ballpark, you've got to make sure that they're seeing that you're going to put a winning team together.
Yeah, but I think teams look at the Yankees. The Yankees, you brought up a great point. The Yankees are always ones that swing for the fences all the time. They always go for the big names.
Mm-hmm.
they moved off of Soto.
Yep.
You know, which surprised the hell out of me because I would have thought Soto and Judge locked in for the next 5 or 6 years was almost a match made in heaven.
I didn't think Soto would stay, not for the money he was asking. The guy's defense is terrible.
Who cares?
It's not.
But it's still Juan Soto. He's still younger than Stanton and healthier than Stanton. But what I'm saying is like these teams are not just going all in for the money now. They're being a little more calculated. And when the Yankees are making calculated moves, that tells you these smaller teams are following suit. You know, because if the Yankees are moving off somebody, then hey, you know.
Yeah, but the problem is like here's the thing: if we were in the middle of the pack, or maybe the top, let's say top 15 in salaries, like, and I don't mean spending money just to spend money. I mean like you've made quality acquisitions. Then I would be like absolutely. But the Tigers are in the bottom. They're like 10th from the bottom in payroll. Like they don't want to do nothing. And what I'm really going to be worried about is if these players that we see that are coming up, Jackson Jobe, freaking Max Clark, the guys we already got on our team, Winston Perez, Green, Torque, if he ever pans out. I mean, Jace Jung, who just got sent back down to the minors. I mean, I can continue to name Parker Meadows, which is a guy that I love to death. I think he's gonna be a 5-tool player. Like these guys are going to get contracts eventually. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You just let them all walk?
Well, and also too, like this is year 3 for a lot of them, right? Like they had their second year last year, right?
No. So like so Parker Meadows, Jace Jung, who hasn't really had any time in the majors, Lorenzo, he's still a prospect. I'm trying to remember. Wenzel Perez was a rookie last year. Almost everybody was a rookie that we had.
Okay. So they're going to their second year. So by year three, for most good players, that's the year top.
Yes. So the
Tigers are probably another year away.
Well, so once you get to year 3, you see what kind of players you have. When their rookie year could be good or bad, so be it. Their second year, a lot of times if they're good, it's a slump. If it's their second year, it's like, it just depends. The third year is you either break out or
you know who's going to be good in the third year. Correct.
So the thing is it's hard to preach patience to a fan base that's being patient. You know, like we hear it from the Red Wings all the time in the Yinzer plan. I'm a Yzerman guy or an Yzerman guy, but I'm being patient. You know, the lines in football, it's a little bit different. Like you can flip a team pretty fast in football.
But look at the Pistons. The Pistons are in the same boat the Tigers were. The Pistons were
But you can't compare basketball to baseball because you get two players, you get good players, and you can now make the playoffs in the NBA.
Yes and no.
No, absolutely yes. That's an absolute yes.
I mean, it's the caliber of the player that you get. That's
what I'm saying. Like if we drafted Cade Cunningham last year, hypothetically, and then we brought over Booker from Phoenix, let's say he was a free agent. Those two guys together, you've already got. I mean, you're in the play-in tournament probably with a bunch of just regular players.
I mean that's fair, but I mean, how far are you going? And the thing about the Tigers, I think the Tigers overachieved. Like they exceeded what people expected them to do.
That's the problem, though. So you got your like 40, you got your like 45% fans that are like totally like thinking they're going to make the World Series. Then you got the other 45% that think they're never going to make anything ever. And then you got the 10% in the middle. Those are the realistic fans. Those are the ones that can give you an objective point of view. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. I think the Tigers are probably at least 2 more years away from being legit players in the AL.
It depends on their development because our hitting coaches are okay. They're okay. Yeah. We don't have very many right-handed bats. Where there are some in the minors, but there's not a whole lot. There's a lot of left-handed hitters in the minors because they were just the good players that were drafted were left-handed hitters. It's just the way it is. Right. So that's why you have to fill that void with free agents. And I'm not just saying sign a guy for a 1 year like $5 million contract just to fill in. No, you need to go out and get, even if you can do like 1 for 15 or 1 for 20 for a top end dude, just to see what, and then you can extend him based on how well he does that the next year,
But let's be real. Let's be real. If you're the Tigers and you're trying to go after a decent player, what do you think their pecking order is as a free agent, desired place to play?
Well, yeah. No, I absolutely. So depends on the free agent. Sometimes it's location, sometimes it's team based, and sometimes it's money. If they all come together and it's all in money comes down to, it's going to be money, at the end of the day. But if you see a team that's really, really good, but you're not going to get very much money from them, you may take them over another team. If they're in a cold weather area where you don't like it, and you can go somewhere and get similar money, but it's going to be lower, and you're with a team that's not so good, you may take that. I mean, more often than not, like Mistrella said that in the beginning, most players are going to go for the money. They're going to take the money. That's just the way. That's the way it is. But once it gets really close, then it depends on what's their projected growth, and then the city itself. Do you like the weather? Do you like the climate? It's a good place to go. But yeah.
So how do you, Chris? How do you think the Tigers are shaping up?
How do I think what?
The Tigers are shaping up.
So right now it's so all that talk about like we want to go through like draft and development. So now what we're to now is now all these injuries with Parker Meadows, who's not going to start opening day. Wenzel Perez is not going to start opening day. We got a pitcher who we signed for $15 million, an aging veteran, and Alice Cobb is not going to start opening. Like he's not going to be available opening day. Like all these guys are starting to injure. Now you see guys that are like, well, we're going to put Torque at center field. We're going to put Torque like in right field. We're going to put freaking Javier Baez at third instead of second. Like they're not going to fill the void.
But we all know that baseball's a long ass.
True.
But we all know baseball's a long ass season, so you can start bad and still find your way to the playoffs. And on top of that, you give all the young guys opportunities to step in and see what they've got.
Yeah, but they sent, like, even though Matt Manning, for instance, Matt Manning just started yesterday's game, but he was sent to the minors. He ain't going to be on the rotation. And I actually like Matt Manning, but I knew he wasn't going to make it out of freaking spring training. He's going to be sent to the minors. The Theo Lorenzen, he's going to be sent to the minors. And he played yesterday as well. He's probably playing today too. Like Madreas. I think Madreas. He might start out. He might be in the lineup opening day because he got starts last year. He might be in there. He's terrible, but he'll be in there. It's very possible. There's a lot of switching around. Go ahead.
You seem to know baseball pretty well, more than we all do. What is the expectations of the Tigers this year?
I'm sorry?
Where do you think they're going to finish? What is the expectation of the Tigers this year for you? Where do you think they're going to finish in the AL?
So, like I said, I think we're going to finish with. I mean, if we get to a 500 record, it'll be a good deal. I would like them to make the wild card. A lot of people are like, no, we got to win the division. Like Cleveland's pretty good. I mean, you can't. Cleveland's pretty good. You can't. If second place. I mean, 50, at a 500 record, 80 wins, 80 losses, 81 and 82, like right around there. I'm good with that. Anything above that, I like it. I like it. You ask some other fan bases, they're like, nope, if we don't win the division, or nope, if we don't go X, Y, and Z past the second or third round of the play. I mean, I can foresee what other people want. That's what they want. What we're going to end up doing is taking a step back from last year because, like you said, we did way better than we were supposed to. Like we did way better than we were supposed to. If we make the playoffs, let's make the playoffs and we'll work from there. I'll be happy if we make the playoffs. But I'll tell you what, we play Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The first series of the regular season is against Los Angeles in Los Angeles.
Exactly, and we're going to get swept. We'll probably except the opening day will be the only day because Scooble's pitching. I like Jack Flattery. I like I like Reese Olson. Those are your first three pitchers right there. Because your next two are going to be Jackson Jobe and freaking Casey Mize.
It'll show you what the Tigers are made of, because
me and B were talking
year at this time. Well, last year in July when they played Los Angeles, they beat them 2 out of 3 games.
Yes,
Tigers
they did. Just before the All-Star break, I think?
It was after the All-Star break.
Okay.
That's when the Tigers started ripping off wins.
Yeah, and so that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, go ahead, Nate.
No, I was just saying, like, me and B were talking about that. Like, if you can get just one win in Dodger Stadium, that's a victory within itself.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's good. It's good to start off against Los Angeles in the beginning of the season, because now, and it's not good for Scooble per se, but hitters tend to hit better, I think, early. Because pitchers then start to get used to it. They get in the grooves and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But out the gate, hitters have an advantage, I do believe, out the gate. But as the season progresses, the pitchers, they see what people are – they study. You don't think so. You think only football players watch game tape. But these pitchers, when they're ready for the next – when they know their next start is tomorrow, they're going to go back and see how they pitched or how other pitchers pitched against them, and they'll get better as the season goes on.
Yeah, it's like the offense and defense in football. You know, the offense is always ahead of the defense in football. People are like, what the hell happened to our defense? Like, it's early in the season. You know, the offense is always ahead.
Yeah, and so where I see them at is I hope they make the playoffs. I really do. I hope they make the playoffs because at least the fans will be, be okay with it. But the fan base can't go well.
Or at least be in the fight. At least be in the fight.
Yeah, you got to be in the fight the whole way. You just can't use last year's anomaly.
At least be in the fight for the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You just can't use last year's anomaly as the constant.
The bar. Like, it could be a bar that you can set that they can get to, but yeah, every season's different anyway. They got new players in the lineup.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is so let's say they start off really slow. Well, remember last year, it's like that's an anomaly, man. That doesn't happen very often. So you have to, that's why veterans, God, once again, I'll get back to it. Veteran players, good quality veteran players keep you out of those long-term, like little slumps. Like you won't go into, when you have quite a few veterans mixed in with rookies and young players, you don't go on these long like playoff or these long losing streaks. But you also don't necessarily go on these long winning streaks either, but you keep it afloat long enough with veterans. When you got rookies, they get in their head, they go in slumps. They're all in a slump together. It sucks.
Let me ask you a question, Chris. Another question. Say that again, Nate. You kind of broke up there, buddy.
I said that's why you have a strong coach in AJ Hinch, because he's your leader and he's the one that's not going to let him get rattled,
Well, I mean, the coach is good. He's a good in the ear. Hey, dude, just walk it off. But once he walks it off, it's up to him mentally to go, I got to forget about that knucklehead play I just made. I got to walk away. Got to start over again. That's what Torque's having a problem with. And now in spring training, both him and Javier Baez are doing great. Will that be the same play throughout the season? I don't know. I hope it is, because that's a good thumbs up for us. But that's the thing. Torque had it in his head that he could always hit the long ball. He could always get and he didn't make any changes because it was in his head. The coach loves him, but you can only be in a player's head so much. They got to change for themselves.
I think with these young players, you really don't know what they're going to be until you get to year 3. If by year 3, if they're not on the cusp of really being a good player, then you know that they are what they are, and they might not be in your plans going forward, because baseball moves on very quickly for players.
Well, with Torque, with Torque, you're in year 4, so now you gotta this is put up or shut up. If he has another season like he did last year, he's done. Like the Tigers, I mean, the fan base isn't going to support him playing, and he ain't. I mean, he's done. So he has to be at least an average player to stay on the team.
So let me ask you a hypothetical question, Chris. Say the Tigers are doing pretty good by the break, and they have a chance to keep going on. And do you think that they will go out and trade for a veteran player or get a veteran player?
So with going by past history, the Tigers don't get like high-end play. I mean, once again, this is son. This is not dad, Illich. So, and he doesn't go out and get players. So that's the problem. Is he's got a very tight wallet, which is what that's just the way he is, man. He wants to string it out. As long as people are going to watch the games, he's we're in it. Fans are coming out to watch the game. They're not gonna sign any high-end guys.
Let me throw a hypothetical to you. Let's say the Tigers are winning the division halfway through the season. Okay, you don't think they would go out and get a big time player to get them over the top, to get them now they're competing with the big boys because they know that they're going to be in the bigger games going forward? You don't think they would try to change that narrative? Because anybody can change the narrative. No one's set in stone forever. I mean, hell, Jerry Jones said he's going to stop talking and giving press conferences sometimes. Everybody makes changes. Like, I think it's just a matter of where they are in the standings. If you're number one in your division, you bet your ass that they're going to try to go after somebody at the deadline if there's somebody.
So you would think that is the case. You would think that's the case. It also depends on who's doing well on the team. If all those young players and rookies are playing well, he's going to say, "Yep, it's working. We're doing great. See, I told you." He ain't going to go get nobody.
Or maybe they feel like they're a piece away. You know, it all depends.
The problem is,
well, see, Nate, the thing about what Chris is trying to say though, and Mike Illich, or not Mike Illich, but his son is an idiot. Basically, he's not going to do any of that kind of spending the money. He's not like his dad. His dad would be like that. He's put his money in. That's why both the Red Wings and the Tigers were successful so many times. The Tigers won. They were in 2 World Series. They didn't win them, but they were in 2 World Series. You're not going to see that with this if he doesn't put up or shut up, and that's the problem. He's not going to put up or shut up. He's not his dad. It's not going to happen.
But people,
like if we're really if we're in the lead, then what his draft and development idea is working. So why do I need to get a player? If we're not, and we're a little ways behind, then what's the point of me getting a player? Because it's not going to change anything.
But you know, a lot of these trades that happen in the MLB, it's usually traded from the farm system. It's not traded from your actual roster. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they feel like they have some prospects that somebody else desires and they can still get a big time player, then that's different. You know, they're not going to go out and trade who they have on their roster to get a player.
So that might be a play. That might be a play there. I don't know, because they value their. I mean, we were rated the #1 minor league system this year.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
And so, if we're going to keep it that way, is what they're probably going to do. The thing is because our minor league system is rated so high, the problem is that, and this has seemed like it's been like this with a few, maybe minus the NBA. It seems like recently, prospects have been it's been harder to get players with prospects nowadays. It's like, oh, well, so-and-so is rated the 50th prospect in Major League Baseball. And the best I'm going to get is a middle reliever. No, that's not happening. I'm not giving up my 50th prospect, in Major League Baseball for a nobody. You need to give, if I'm giving up a top 50 prospect, one guy, you're giving me a starter, not an all-star necessarily, but a starter. That's why last year when everybody's like, well, what happens if they trade Scooble? What would they get? I'll tell you what they would get. You'd have to give up the farm for Scooble. You'd have to give up 3 prospects. And I'm not talking any. We're talking when Baltimore was in the sequence, we were talking their top 2 prospects plus 2 or 3 others plus another guy. And guys were like, you got to be joking me. I go, that's where Scooble is. He had 2.5 years of control on top of that. So you're smoking. You're
Why
smoking
haven't
if you
why
think you're
haven't
not.
they extended Scooble? He's
What?
their best player. Why haven't they extended him?
Scott Boras
Is it
is
really
his
the money
agent.
thing?
Scott
They don't
Boras
wanna
is his agent.
Who?
Scott Boras is
Scott
his agent.
Boras.
Oh, Scott Boras. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
I
so
think Drew Rosenhaus.
yep,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
if you go and you like right now, you could offer the moon for Scooble for an extension, and they're not taking it because they know they can make more money in 2 years if he's vying for a Cy Young again, because he's got 2 more years. So if he can vie for Cy Youngs in both those years, he could ask for the most money ever.
But
in
he's also
baseball
almost
history.
28 years old, so he's not a young guy. You know, like you gotta figure either shit or get off the pot with him, right?
I mean, he's not, but that's the thing. Like you got guys like he's on the same path as Chris Sale was.
Yeah.
But I mean, Sale got injured. Like they're about on the same scale. Now, if he continues to pitch like he can,
Yeah.
he'll be above Chris Sale, and because the scale of money is more now than it was when Sale first came in, the amount of money he could garner, the Tigers are not even going to pay that. Like, there's no way he's going to garner like 35, 40 million a year. You're not going to pay for that. You know, it's going to be something crazy. So Scott Boras isn't going to budge because he knows he's going to get more money in 2 years. That's why. I think he just won an arbitration hearing. I do believe. And I think, I think he just, something like that. And he got some more money. But that's the thing. Like when Boras is your agent, there's really, to be honest with you, no point in even discussing a contract. There's no point.
Boras is a hard ass agent, man.
I'll give you 10 years of freaking like 40 million a year. Click. Like whatever. Yeah, Boras is a tough.
I'm back when you're serious.
Yeah. So the Tigers also open up on the 4th of April against the White Sox, which is cool. I mean, it gives you a soft team to start with in your home opener. But what's up?
I love it. I hate Chicago.
Well,
so
sorry, I have to put that out there. I mean, but then again, they may lose, and then that'll prove that baseball is just baseball. It's the way it goes. But I mean, there is something funny though. I just noticed that Scooble said that he wanted to wear Max Clark's chain. That was very interesting. Yeah, he's got all these chains. Max Clark like plays with all these chains and stuff on. I wish he wouldn't wear them because that's just so much stuff on him. I think.
Hey, here's a question.
What's up?
If the Tigers struggle, okay, and let's say they're like 10, 20 games under 500, whatever. Do you trade Scooble or do you extend them?
They're gonna. Okay, so this is the one thing that Chris Ilitch is. He ain't gonna trade Scooble. That's his money man. That's his money man. He knows at least he'll have a packed house once every 5 games. He knows that. Scooble is a virtual Cy Young candidate every year now. So they ain't gonna trade him. He's gonna stand on his laurels. It's like back in the day when Barry Sanders, when the Lions had a chance to trade Barry Sanders to Washington, they wouldn't do it. They were so butthurt that he would offer a trade, and he just denied, and he didn't want to play. He didn't want to play anymore, and they wouldn't even trade for him. It's just like, you know what? Fine, retire. Like that's how Chris Ilitch is. It's like he's just going to play him out until his contract, and then he probably won't sign him, and then he'll go to a free agent for whatever money, and then square one again. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen, but he's not trading Scooble. I think
that's the same thing that goes for Robbie's team, Pittsburgh. They got a up and coming pitcher too, and they have players, but their management is like they're kind of like the Tigers.
Yep,
they get rid of people.
Oh, speaking of which,
can't compete with one of the lowest payrolls in the league.
Right.
Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to get at too. I mean, we're a couple notches above you, but I mean, we're not much.
YINZER, I think, let me check. YINZER 18, Pirates are 26.
Yeah. Okay. So you're a little bit better than us, or we're a little bit better than you, but I mean,
but
when even if you're 18th, you're in the middle of the pack. Like you're not even, you got to spend money. And then as you go up, you'll notice like the top 4, 5, or 6 teams in the league are separated by so much money. Like you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars.
oh yeah,
And
the
those
Mets
teams
are
playoffs.
the Mets are number 1 with $312 million payroll.
Yeah.
I mean, Soto.
Those top teams are making the playoffs almost every single year. That's what you get when you spend money. You get in the playoffs.
Well, they're also going all in too.
Always.
They're hoping that by going all in, it's gonna get them a championship. But the way the Dodgers are, shit, good luck with that.
I mean, that is what it is. But if you're in the playoffs every year, that's what matters. It keeps your fan base hopeful. But if you're like like us, we were in the playoffs last year. What happens if we don't make it this year or the next year? Then we got to worry about Scooble. Now we don't have anybody like you. If you stay in the playoffs, like you make the playoffs this year, and then once you get about 3 years consecutively in the playoffs, then you start seeing free agents go, okay, well, I see what they're building there. They look like they're doing pretty good. Then you start garnering some more attention, but that's when you're supposed to start putting money into like if you start doing that, then people say, okay, they're serious. They're trying to make the playoffs every single year. And then the fan base sticks with you. They go to more games. They show up, even though that you may not win, they're going to show up. That's how you get your money. Your money comes, you have to invest first, then you get your residuals back. But
right.
But
the way I look at it too is I think that the Tigers are following the same timeline as the Lions. Like the Lions did not start adding free agents really of impact until year 2 or 3. Like, we're about to hit year 5. So I think next year, if the Tigers are either in the playoffs or get close to the playoffs, that's when I think you'll start seeing maybe some changes. I don't know. I mean, y'all make it seem like this owner's like stuck in his ways completely. So I mean, he might be the next Jerry Jones. Who knows? But
I mean, well, he's the opposite. Well, he's the opposite of Jerry Jones. At least he's not in the paper like Jerry Jones. He's got to be on the mic. He's got to be around.
Yeah.
Like he has to fire his general manager. We know who the general manager is. So, but at the end of the day, Illich is the opposite. He's like, I don't want to pay anybody. I don't want to touch anybody. I don't want anything. Just here's how much you get to spend every year. That's it. We're done. And then you've got the coach and the general manager are begging and pleading for money, and he's like, nah. It's like he's got to what he should do. He's got to do what like Sheila did for the Lions, dude. I got you. You get me? I got you. Whoever you think you need to sign.
Stay away. Stay the hell out of it. Stay the hell out of it. Just offer your resources. Yeah, I agree.
Correct, but that's the thing. He's staying out of it, but he's not offering his resources. So you can't be both. You have to either offer your resources or you have to offer your input. It's got to be one or the other, and he's not doing either. So I mean, half of it he's doing. He's staying out of the picture, but he's not giving you the money. So
my only thing, real quick answer. I'll let you say. My only thing is I'll play devil's advocate. I think he's waiting to see what this looks like with the young guys before he does open his wallet up and see what he can add, because he needs to see what the young guys can do first. And if this last year was an anomaly of what the season could be, that's my only thing.
Which I absolutely agree that the ones that really want to, like, they're on the side of Chris Illich, they're in that boat. And I get it. The viewpoint is like, okay, so let's see how we follow this up. So if you follow us up and you fail, it's on you because you didn't do anything. Now, how do you correct it? The only way to correct something to make it better is to overcorrect. What most people do, you overcorrect. Let's sign all these veteran players. I don't think he's going to do that, but he's going to stick to his draft and develop possibilities. Oh, so-and-so didn't do well this year. We'll hang on because we got to wait 3 years. And when you've got 9 guys that were starters or 9 guys or starters or rookies or second-year players, that means you got to wait 3 more years for all these guys. So then in 3 years, when none of this pans out, I hope it does, but if none of it pans out, what's your excuse now? Mm-hmm. Your system didn't work. Now you're going to have to go to daddy's system, and I got to overpay for everybody. And you gotta give all these contracts out. Now you've done zero, and now you've got to pay up contracts to all these good players. Your Parker Meadows, your Winslow Perez's, your all these guys that you were waiting for without signing vets. And now you have to pay out all these contracts. So you're either going to get rid of some of them, trade them off, and now you're back in the same boat as you were before, where you're not quite on the cusp of making the playoffs, but you need to use your draft and development to fill in the void, and we're back to ground zero again. So that's why you need veterans to start. They will get you by. You know, you don't have to sign these long-term deals. If they'd have paid Alex Bregman 35, if they would have offered $35 million for 3 or 4 years, I think he would have taken it. But they weren't doing that. That 30 is probably like it's probably just like freaking something to Chris Ilitch. He's like 30. Wait, what? Like, and I will tell you, I used to be such a football fan. I kept thinking the cap, and now that I realize that baseball doesn't have a cap, I could care less how much you spend. Spend $50 million a year. Oh, but
yeah, exactly. Like the good teams are going to spend the money, and the bad teams are not. Just that
exactly.
That's what makes the bad teams and the good teams the good teams. Because it's spending the money.
Your money will come back to you in playoffs, revenue. But that's the thing. Oh, you have to invest first. I don't know anything on this planet where you don't invest first and then you get your money in return later down the line. Nobody invests and gets it right away. Very seldom. You have to invest first, and then it'll come back to you.
Well, I think the investment now is in the young guys. I think the investment's right now in the young guys, because the young guys pan out, then they pay those guys, and then they go out and add pieces. But they got to see what they got in their house first.
True, but you're always going to have to see that.
Yeah.
No matter how many rookies you bring up,
you have a young team.
True.
Yeah.
But
because because honestly,
if it fails, then what?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question: outside of the whole roster, how many all-star players or really good players do the Tigers have? If you're being honest about the roster.
So depending on depending on how they do up until the All-Star break, the only guy on our roster, unless Javier Baez comes out of nowhere, the only player on the roster right now that I could see as an All-Star candidate is Green, and that's it. That's it. That's the only guy. I'm sorry.
All-Star players.
Scooble,
yeah.
You might get Jack Flattery in there if he's doing really well. Flattery could be up there too, but once again, I don't talk much about the pitching, because when you've got one of the best pitching coaches in all of baseball, Federer, I mean, he's gonna make. That's why I wanted. Who was that free agent? Eric was it? It was Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler. I actually wanted him. So
Dodgers.
He could have really switched and helped Walker Buehler immensely, but we didn't get him. Unfortunately, we got 3 guys that were 35 years old and older. But it's the way it is. But I don't really worry about the pitching, because I do believe our lineup's going to be Scooble, Flattery, Olsen, and then however you want to flip flop it, it's probably going to be Mize and Job, or Job and Mize. Yeah. Mize's pitching has really come around. He touched 106 miles an hour. That is like crazy. Last year he couldn't even touch 98, let alone 106. So,
well, I think for the opening day, I think he's the 5th rotational pitcher.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Yeah. So he's our pitching staff is something else. It's if those
and that's a good start to have with a young team. Is you have to get your pitching staff right, have your ace, which they do. Mm-hmm. Now it's just a matter of adding bats and timely players that can get you runs or help you on defense or whatever. You know.
I mean, the only issue is you're going to have to find spots for everybody, because a lot of position players that were expected to start are not there, and so you're going to have to move people around. We have a couple of utility guys, but some guys are not playing the positions. I mean, they're putting Colt Keith at first, and he just started to get better. His spring training hasn't been that good until the last few games. He's kind of starting to hit better, but he has problems at first base. He comes off the bag too soon, which are challengeable calls for, at the plate. He comes off way too quick.
We are running out of time,
I figured
but it was great. It was great to have
good
you on
chatting.
here, Chris, and Nate and Robbie is on. Sorry, Rob, we didn't get a lot to you, but we held you in consideration.
He's from Pittsburgh.
Okay, well, real quick.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Hey.
Nasty Nate.
Okay, so we got. I have one question for both of you guys, real quick.
What?
Over under win totals for